Look, we have a bit of news that ties into it in some ways. Conor McGregor's return. What happened right after that fight was announced? The fight we have wanted for oh so damn long is finally going to take place for the lightweight championship. Let me get the date right. April 18th in Brooklyn, New York.
You going?
At a pay-per-view yet to be made. Am I going? I'm going to camp out for it. It's Khabib Nurmagomedov defending against Tony Ferguson for the 5th time. Although they've never actually met in the cage due to injuries and bad weight cuts and all the drama that's gotten there. So, Chuck, maybe the 5th time's the charm, but I want to ask you, is this fight cursed? Or did the heavens and the MMA gods just part the seas so that we can finally see this right now for the title when it would mean so much more than back in Tampa in 2014?
Well, I mean, if you just look at each iteration of it, gets bigger, right, each time. And I think that by the 3rd time it was booked, I remember, 3rd time's the charm, but there was already this idea of this karmic, cosmological thing that was in play, like, it never happened. And then it starts falling through. By the 4th time when it fell through, I really believed it was cursed. So I'm not sure. I don't really honestly believe in that sort of thing, but I don't want to talk about it, so I'm becoming superstitious. I've written major, big-time articles about it that just kind of went out the window because the fight never happened. So it's like one of those situations at this point, they're just like, show me it. And once they're walking to the cage and they're in the cage, I'll believe it. But I guess I do take it with a grain of salt.
I mean, it's almost tempering what our excitement could be because, like you said, we've been here so many times. But yet at its core, tell me if I'm wrong here. When you look at the landscape of all combat sports, boxing or MMA, is this the best possible on-paper fight in terms of like, forget the commercial side for a second. Just 2 guys we need to see in there with so much at stake. What's it going to look like? Style versus style. Is this the best fight you can make in boxing or MMA from that standpoint, where you are not only appealing to the hardcores, you're sticking that fist in and turning it?
I would have said that on the 3rd time they booked it. I would have said yes.
What, the fist comment?
No, just that it's the best fight on paper. You could have said that a couple years ago when it was supposed to happen. I would have said it doubly on the 4th time they booked it, and I would say it triply on the 5th time they booked it. That's how much I believe in this fight. I love this fight. I've always loved this fight. It's only gotten better over time. You consider that since the first time they booked this fight that never happened, Ferguson has won 6 fights more in a row. Nurmagomedov has won 6 fights as well, and he's also won the title and defended it twice. You know what I mean? It's just...
Don't they both have the same amount of UFC wins in a row? Aren't they on the same amount of UFC wins?
They might. I just know I kind of went back and I looked at that and I was like, where? Because every time they do it, it's gotten sweeter and sweeter because it just doesn't happen. Usually something happens where a guy loses, just like you mentioned with Cerrone. You would like to have seen it in the day before he started losing like that. Usually that happens in MMA. Like a guy loses and then it kind of loses its luster, but that hasn't been the case here.
Ferguson has been on such a bizarre journey to get to this point, tripping over the cord, having to beat everybody they put in front of him.
The cord, come on.
But he's finally here, and this victory could be the opportunity, even at age 36 now, for him to skyrocket to superstardom, which really his brand has been under blossom, some of that is always missing time due to injuries, but true or false? Forget the commercial side again. Tony Ferguson's the only man that can beat prime Khabib Nurmagomedov.
I would say true, and I think that's one of the reasons I want to see it so bad. I feel like he's the one guy that adds an element or a dimension of doubt to it. Usually when you're contemplating a Nurmagomedov fight, you're thinking, how long, how is he going to do it? How long until he takes him down, starts pounding him out? But when you got a guy who's just that strange and like that good in a scramble and that unorthodox everywhere.
Insane too.
And
Let's say that. That's part of the scouting report.
He starts bleeding and then he becomes like this banshee or something. He becomes something else in that cage. It's very...
If it bleeds, we can kill him. That's great. Send me location. Brooklyn, New York. Cannot wait.
I'm so happy it's happening in our backyard.
Becoming a Habib home, Brooklyn, right? I love that.
Hopefully no Irishmen show up with their dollies. We'll be all right.
Inject this fight right here.
You want to do that?
Give me some tracks right now. Let's do this thing. All right.